Hey guys, Frank here, and welcome to another episode of Digital Classroom in our series, How Did I Shoot This One? And you probably already guessed it, we're going to do something with the Westcott optical snoot. But let's first do the intro. Now, during the workshops I've mentioned many times before, we love to experiment with different light modifiers. Now, it's very cool, of course, to teach a workshop and just show all the lighting setups over and over again, but in all honesty, that's not why attendees come back for the workshops. They want something new every single time. And that means that I have to push myself, of course, also to, well, imagine new lighting setups, new effects. And the combination that we're using in this setup is one of my favorites. Now, the optical snoot or Gobo projector, I explained a few times before in videos, but if you didn't see those videos, we have a few options with this optical snoot. This is the Westcott Lindsay Adler, and I'm using a 50mm on the front to make sure that it spreads out nicely over the scene. And for this setup, I'm actually using a Gobo with lines to create a sort of effect like sitting in a chair, and there's light falling through the windows, and you can see those nice lines over the body of the model. Now with this Gobo projector we can also use the blades, of course, to create something cool, but in this case we just use the Gobo. Now with a Gobo projector you can actually focus the lines, so in other words you can make them very sharp or you can make them a little bit softer. Now in this case we didn't want very sharp lines running over our model, we actually want them to be a little bit defocused, and that's why you use this, of course, to focus your the sharpness of your shadows. Now, the main thing about a lighting setup is like this is that you have to be smart. You don't per se need an extra main light. If you set it up correctly and you make sure that you shoot tethered so you can see the results, you can actually place your model exactly in the place where the normal light is hitting your model. In other words, just like a normal setup, if she was sitting in front of the window. If you place your model wrong, the shadow will run over her face. If you place the model correct, the shadow will be in the place that you want it. That's one of the main advantages of shooting tethered, of course, in the studio. But enough talk about this. The main line setup, of course, is the Gobo projector. Now, when I shoot it with just the Gobo projector, it's very dark, very dim, and you don't see any nice mood in the picture. And that's why the second strobe is incredibly important. For the second strobe, I'm using a Geekoto GT series. So this is a smaller hybrid strobe. One of the main advantages of these strobes is that you can very easily use our magnetic system from Rogue. Now in this case, you can use, for example, a gel in front. If you want a more narrow light beam, you can use something like a grid. If you want a more wider beam or omnidirectional, you can use the dome, and it all fits together. Doesn't make any sense to use a grid and a dome, of course, but hey, you know why I demonstrate it. Now, the main thing about our accent light is that I'm not using it in a conventional way. Now, the conventional way, of course, would be to aim it at your model, give a very nice edge light, and, well, that's it. But that doesn't really open up the shadows. What I want to do is I want to use it as an accent light with a lens flare. So in other words, I want to make sure that the lens flare opens up all the shadows, the reflection of the light, but also the lens flare itself. And that's why I'm using this light a little bit in front of the model. If you place it behind the model, it will blow out the hairs of the model, or it will give a very nasty light effect on the model. But if you place it slightly in front, it will still hit your model a little bit, but most of the light is concentrated on your lens, creating a beautiful lens flare. And of course, it helps that I'm using a black diffusion filter from K&F Concept, or black mist. I always call it black mist. The original name is, I believe, a black diffusion. Now, the main power is, of course, from that accent light. The main light is, of course, very nice to create the overall mood, but the real mood maker is, of course, that accent light. So experiment with how hard you will place that light in the set. If you want a real overblown effect, like that real old glamour look, you place it all the way up, get a lot of light in your lens, and that creates that milky, smooth look. But if you want it a little bit less, or maybe with a color, you can just combine whatever you want. Just what you like. That's how you set up your accent light. So in other words, this one is your main light, you keep it that way, and this one is your accent light, and that's the mood maker. If you want it dark, place it on a lower setting. If you want to overturn the setup, that's why you use it on a higher setting. As you can see in the final results in a minute, I'm using several setups to create different moods. Also move around your model, because everywhere where you shoot from, it's a different angle, different lighting, different effects. So let's take a look at the behind the scenes video so you can see the lighting setup and our model in action. And then of course, you're going to see the final results. As you can see, a great setup with our Gobo projector and our accent lighting. And the cool thing is, the Gobo projector, if you look really closely, you can of course see it, but it's almost invisible. And that's what I love about using a Gobo projector like this. You don't have to put it in the frame like, hey, look, there's a Gobo projector. Use it very subtle, and it can really give you those old-fashioned, glamoury looks. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. See you again next time. If you like what we do, well, you know the drill. Hit the bell and notification button, of course, but most of all, tell other people about our channel so we can grow. And give this video a like. It really helps us out. See you again next time. Bye, guys.